And welcome back to your morning dose of GP news, all your Formula One news in one place, hopefully within the next 5 minutes. So let's get started. Dominicali has come out and have suggested rotational F1 races in Europe coming very soon. I say boo-hoo, but I'm slightly biased. So he said, we have some news to share very, very soon with regard to the possibility in the midterm to have some rotational European Grand Prix and some other new options coming later. Hopefully that's not more street tracks, de money. Carly, see what I did there? So this is something that, of course, we'll clarify in due course, he says. It is true that we have a large demand of new possible venues that want to come in, and our choice will always be balanced. Okay, between, here we go, the right economical benefits that we can have a system, and also to leverage the growth on the market so that we can see potential that will be beneficial for us to grow even further for our business. Yeah. Dominicali still, I think. Dominicali. So, Williams have come out, and it is quite difficult for poor James Vowles. And he has said, no team on the grid, there is no team on the grid that can cope with five major accidents in race weekends. We're going in two race weekends consecutively. We're going to do our absolute utmost to get two cars to the best specification that they can be for Las Vegas. What that looks like is difficult to predict at the moment. But they have two cars, unlike Australia, when they only had the one, if you remember, when Alex Albon crashed it. So, trying times for Williams, I think. Very, very trying. Now, let's have a look at Max Verstappen versus his teammates. So, 52 wins for Max. And 5 wins for Sergio Perez. They shared 82 races. Here's an interesting one. Over 58 races. Max Verstappen 5. Daniel Ricciardo 5. Max Verstappen on 26 races with Albon, 3 for 0. And 0 for 0 with Carlos Sainz after 23 races in the Toro Rosso. And with Pierre Gasly, 2 wins for Max, none for Pierre Gasly. That was over 12 races though. So yeah, I mean, there's even talk from Autosport suggesting that should Red Bull swap Perez for Lawson. As we know, Sergio Perez does have a contract in for next year, but could he? It's going to be quite interesting as well. More on this probably tomorrow, but the drivers now have a united stance. They're actually united against something, and that is against Mohammed Ben Sulayem and the FIA over the swearing, to the point where they sent a letter to the FIA saying they're quite unhappy about the swearing, and I kind of tend to agree with them. It is a bit ridiculous. So McLaren have been talking about the F1 aborted start rule at Brazil, suggesting it's a little confusing amid the Lando Norris fine. Stella said, when you look at the letter of the regulations, it's a little tricky. He said, because in the extra formation act there is talk about delayed starts. When there is an aborted start, it talks about returning to the grid. So there are some technicalities that may have made the situation a little confusing for Lando. I guess he just reacted to the lights at the time. Overall, we think it's a very benign situation. It should give the opportunity to clarify a little bit in those cases, as so the ones that didn't know, Lando Norris got a fine for that, not a sporting penalty or a grid penalty or anything like that. He got a fine, and I think that's kind of fair. So Yuki Tsunoda rues the red flag, costing RB a chance to lead the Brazilian Grand Prix. He said, I think what we did, switching to extreme, that was good. Just the safety car and the red flag came out, and that was that went down. He said, if the red flag didn't come out, probably I would at some point have taken a lot of cars and maybe get into the lead. Well, I think he would have done, because Perez, who was behind him, was about 7 seconds faster than most of the grid, and he was on wets. So last but not least, not obvious, and that's Mercedes to investigate the Hamilton setup woes. So Andrew Chauvelin's come out and said it's fair to say Lewis was struggling predominantly with a lack of rear grip. If we look at how he had his car, it's not obvious where that was coming from. But in the sprint race, as soon as you have less grip, you are not getting, as soon as you have got less grip, and you are not getting the snap of oversteer on exit, you generate more temperature. That in itself will prolong the problem, he said. As with any race, we spend a lot of time digging through the data, trying to understand, and Lewis engineering crew will be working with him on this issue, trying to make sure we get to the bottom of it for Las Vegas. Hopefully we do. The big question is, will Lewis Hamilton win a race again in Mercedes? Don't know. He won the British Grand Prix though. I think he would have taken that at the beginning of the year, given how good that car was. So, there we go. That is your F1 news. We will speak to you soon. Thank you very much. And stay safe.